Hey there, fans of the Survivor Super Fun Time Show. This is Kevin from the Survivor Super Fun Time Show. And today's a really exciting video. With Survivor 50 coming up, there's been a lot of people putting together lists for all these legends, all these really cool castaways that could come back. We're going to see Boston Rob do his sixth season. We're going to see Tyson fumble it again against Russell a lot of those coming around. But instead, I actually think it's really fun to only talk about the new era people. A lot of people like to talk about who made it to the end, who are the biggest strategic threats. How can we put D from 45 and Jesse from 43 on the same tribe together? I think all those sound great. But I'm actually a lot more interested in talking about players who deserve a second chance, players who were voted out early and didn't really get to, get their teeth into the meat of the game. And that's what this video is all about. This one is a video about all the new era people up to this point from season 41 to 46. And we try to put together 3 coherent, awesome, balanced tribes. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to have Survivor, Extra Life, where we have 3 tribes of 6 people each, 3 women, 3 men identifying, and we're going to have them face off against one another for a kick-ass season. Now, I'm approaching this as if I am Jeff Probst in a room with a bunch of really smart people who put together these seasons. I'm not picking internet darlings entirely, okay? There's going to be some of them in there, of course, but this is not to make the fan base happy. Instead, I'm picking people that fit roles that I think really do need a second chance. It's going to be interesting. The only thing that I have to point out specifically is no quitters. Again, if I'm Jeff Probst, quitters shouldn't be coming back. So that means poor Hannah Rose, as much as I would love to see Hannah Rose play a lot of games, Survivor's probably just not it. So she's not considered for this, and anyone else has quit the game. It's really exciting. We'll go through all the tribes. I'll go through them individually, talk about why I think they should come back, some of their accolades, and at the end, we'll do a little bit of a recap of all the tribes, and we'll see them all bunched together. And what we call it is Survivor Extra Life. Now, to kind of kick it off, the rules here, 3 tribes, all pre-jury castaways. These are people that did not do well, but usually they didn't do well for one reason or another. So there's some really heavy hitters here, in my opinion, strategically and physically, that just didn't work out. Because that's the truth of Survivor sometimes. It just does not work out, even though you may have all the tools inside of the toolbox. Sometimes other people they have your number. So without further ado, and knowing those parameters, let's get going. First off, the initial tribe is the Lamy tribe, which will always wear yellow. Consists of Jenny Kim from Survivor 42. I love Jenny Kim. She is a total victim of the strategy in her season's game. What went down on the Vadi tribe with Mike Turner and Chanel and Lydia and all those folks. She unfortunately just ended up being the victim of kind of a big strategic play, like a lot of the folks that are probably going to be on this list. She was really sweet. She was decent in challenges, really bright. It seems like after the game, she's kept up. She's been adventuring. And overall, it just seems like a really lovely person that I would like to see back into the game. So I think she definitely deserves a bit of a second chance in this scenario. And I think she would shine in a extra life situation. So first off the board is Jenny Kim for the Lamy tribe. And next up, we're going to go to our second choice. Jungle Jem from Survivor 46. Jem is a tough one to leave off the list, and I didn't. That's why. I just couldn't do it. There were a few people that I thought had similar personas that could be put onto this list, and I just couldn't let it go. She found the Beware advantage over the Siga tribe. She got the hidden immunity idol. She botched playing it. If she had played it, obviously she would have gone much further in the game. But she was bamboozled by some really, really bright folks. However, Jem clearly is a killer. She's such a killer. She's got amazing instincts. She's really brilliant. She seems to be like fun and feisty. Love that. And I just think she's someone, if she were to come back again, she'd come back with a lot of fury. So I think Jem is an excellent choice to come back. And I already like the way that the tribe starts off with Jenny and Jem. But we need another fun, furious woman to be added to the tribe. And who'll be joining them is the third woman on the tribe, Sydney from Survivor 41 of the Luvu tribe. Sydney's someone that probably gets lost a little bit. She does for me, mainly because I don't like Survivor 41. I hate it, actually. I think it's a bad season. But to be fair, they were kind of breaking new ground and they took the brunt of a lot of the criticism. But Sydney, as a character, she's really athletic, strong. She mixed it up. She's also kind of more of a fun, adventurous person in life. She had no problems really strategically getting involved in things. So in many ways, she shares some similarities with Jem. And one of the reasons why I put her on this tribe is because I think she would probably butt heads with Jem. I do. I think they'd be fighting for the strategic lead of the tribe, specifically with the women. But as you see the men, hopefully you'll understand how I rounded out the tribe and why having Jem and Sydney, two people that I think are going to probably have a power grab, they need to butt heads. So I have Sydney as my last one, and I really love the inclusion. Absolutely. But so you can better understand why I chose so many strong female leads, I'm going to show you the rest of the tribe. Next up, the first man is Sifu from Survivor 45. I love Sifu. Sifu's one of those guys that he was in a season of so many likable people, so many big characters, that somehow Sifu's not going to be remembered as well. He's going to be mostly remembered by that goofy "Who voted for Sifu" comment, you know? And he's a guy, he from a powerhouse challenge standpoint, he was up there. He was up there with Austin. He was up there with Caleb. He was up there with Bruce in every challenge. And he was a great character. And to this day, he also just had a little baby. Shout out to Sifu for his little baby. He would be excellent to see play again. Would I think he'd be the most strategic player among the bunch? No. And that's again why I put in Jungle Gem and Sydney into the group, and Jenny. No doubt Jenny as well. I think Sifu will have learned a lot from his previous game. However, he's still not going to shine in that regard. But amazing character, can really mix it up, really fun. Now, moving on to the second guy, Brad from Survivor 42. I love Brad from Survivor 42. He was one of the most really fun people. Actually, hold on. I said Survivor 42. I meant Survivor 41. My bad. He was one of the most fun people on the Uwa tribe. He actually did end up getting the wear advantage. And I remember just thinking of him looking like broccoli the whole time. And he was kind of quirky, but he was strong. He worked around camp a lot. Seems like a nice guy. Again, it just didn't go his way. Would he be a strategic powerhouse again? Probably not. Just like Sifu, probably not. However, he definitely showed signs of being able to really capitalize on opportunities. So I think that's pretty cool. And I would like to see what would happen if we could basically reshuffle the soup around in this tribe. Now, the final person of this tribe that I'm sure many people are going to be very happy about, who will always wear yellow for the Lami tribe, Jelinski, Mr. 40 Several himself. Now, David Jelinski, fresh off of Survivor, he's a young guy. I think he's 22, something like that, 23. Good dude, strong guy. I think he definitely learned some lessons about playing in a game like he did during Survivor 46. That was a tough game. He played with some serious sharks. Played with Kenzie. That was a rough one. Was stared down by Maria in a journey, and she's a tough cookie. So I think Jelinski, with another go around, having that experience under his belt, maybe would understand certain limitations for himself from a relationship building standpoint, from a physical standpoint, that could really benefit him. And I think with this group in particular, it could go really well. Now, the group of boys, I admit, the group of boys, when I assembled this tribe, this is kind of more of an experiment tribe in a way, because I think the boys are a lot of feel good, not overly strategic guys. I think they'll be good in challenges. I think this tribe will be great in challenges, actually, like amazing. But they're also not overly overpowering either. And Jelinski being a first one who's kicked out of the game, it's nice to have first boots, get another chance at this opportunity. And you have some folks like Sifu who made it, pretty far. And you have a nice blend of personalities that there's no Boston Rob in this group, but you may have a Denise Stapley. You may have a Malcolm Freeberg in here somewhere. And I love that about this tribe. And I'll do a recap of all the tribes at the end. But remember, Sydney, Jenny Kim, Jungle Gem, David Jelinski, Sifu, and Brad. It's going to be a fun group to watch. And we got the Suva tribe, which will always wear red, consist of Voce from Survivor 41. Voce was one of those guys that definitely he met his time way too early. He was someone that could have been really, really a big impact player in season 41, but it got to a point in the Yase tribe where everyone kind of banded together and said, listen, it's going to be Xander or Voce. And unfortunately, Voce ended up being the guy. So he was taken out pretty early, but he's like a neurosurgeon or something like that. And he's super brilliant and he's good in challenges. And I could see him being, as this picture probably shows, that he would try to be like a very dominant figure in actually trying to put together a season. And I'm all for it, considering there's going to be a lot of people that were voted out early in these seasons that are going to be on these tribes that were not quite as dominant. They were voted out probably because they played a little too recessive, or they have one huge personality conflict that really got them there. So I think Voce is a nice variation of some of the things out there. Like the last three guys I put in, I don't think any of them have what Voce does as far as aggressiveness in the game. So adding him was absolutely essential. But joining him is going to be someone who's a little more chill, a little more relaxed, you could say. Again, always wearing red, JD from Survivor 41. This guy was super cool. I always love to see his stuff on the Ua tribe. It's like he was trying to be like Wu, sort of, from Survivor Kage-Yan. And he excelled. Like he was a good challenge person, although Ua in general was a terrible tribe. Anyone from aside from Ricard and Shan really had a miserable go of it, honestly. But I always loved what he brought to the game. I always thought he was a fun personality. He did get bamboozled a little bit. However, he's not a dumb guy. He's not a top tier strategic threat. But I'm hoping that maybe he would learn from some of his mistakes the first go around, and he would be a little more cautious in his gameplay. That's my real thought about it when I put people like JD back into the game. I don't expect another Boston Rob, but I do expect someone to be pretty skeptical. Maybe like Tyson, his second go around. Although Tyson's second go around was terrible too. He blew it. But you know what I mean? Maybe Tyson's third go around. But JD is someone I would like back in the game, and he's going to be important for sort of the balance of this tribe as we continue through it. Next up, Zach Wurtenberger from Survivor 42. Zach, JD, and Voce, I thought created an excellent balance. JD and Voce are the physical threats, if anything. And Voce is very smart. JD's smart, but that's not really his thing, the big strategy. And Zach, all his thing is personality and strategy. Physical, no, not a thing. And I think he adds a great mix because Zach is crazy funny. Crazy, crazy funny. And I would love to see how he would do if he had another chance out there, other than when he got kicked out really early in the Ika tribe. It'd be really nice to see. But I can't say enough about Zach. I mean, he was voted out first, technically, in 42. So we didn't get to see a ton of his gameplay, but he's clearly a scholar. He's a huge fan of the game. It'd be really exciting to see him get another chance, especially with this group. And by the time I'm done reading off the ladies, you're going to be like, wow, I want to check out the Suva tribe. Then first lady, Helen Lee of Survivor 44. I am such a fan of Helen Lee. Like she was my she wasn't my winner pick. She was my finished second pick for Survivor 44. I thought Helen was going to kill people, but there is this like plague on the game where if you're an Asian woman, you're screwed. It's terrible. And Helen, I think, has all the tools to win the game. She's super bright. She's super smart. She's super brilliant. She's good in challenges. She's great with puzzles. And she's easy on the eye. She's nice. She's all of the above. She's got all the tools in the toolbox. It just didn't work out for her on her former Tika tribe, where she was dealing with, Jam Jam, Carson flipped on her, Carolyn's around, of course, like all these personalities that we know and love. Unfortunately, Helen gets somehow lost in that mix. And I think upon reentry into the game, she is set to do really, really well. Now, joining her, another person, this person was a godfather, though, and it was cruelly taken from her. Sabaya from Survivor 45. Sabaya is a Titan. In challenges, she was strong. Her endurance wasn't all that great, shockingly, but she was really strong. She was really the one who ran the Lulu tribe until she kind of overreached a little bit. One of those situations where you grasp for power too quickly and it all slips through your fingers. She had a hidden immunity idol when she was voted out, and somehow she just didn't see it coming that Emily Flippin and Caleb would get her. And I think if she played again, she would have strong influence in the game, and hopefully she would do significantly better. But I think right now, with the way the tribe is constructed, absolutely huge. And again, strong female personality in this group. But we're gonna have to add one more to the group. This is one that I think the internet would be really fun to see. Really, really happy to come back. And it's Ellie from Survivor 43. Ellie is probably most famously known for kind of getting owned a little bit in a conversation with Gabler at the merge in Survivor 43. She had already decided she was going to turn on Gabler along with Janine, and she got caught because Sammy decided to tell Gabler all about her digging through his bag so that they could eventually vote him out. But aside from that, Ellie is brilliant. Ellie seems great. Challenges, she seemed good. She seemed great with puzzles, but she's someone that doesn't seem to like sitting back and letting strategy come to her, which is great. Excellent for the new era. I don't think there's any way you can do it in the new era unless you do that. And with this tribe in particular, it's going to be a little bit of a power grab. The way I kind of see it breaking down is it'll probably be either Voce or Ellie taking the lead, and then Sabaya being the second one to grab for power. Helen Chilling becoming a swing at some point. And same with JD. I think JD will align with someone and align with the wrong alliance, and it'll all fall apart. But it'll be very interesting to see how this tribe shakes out because I could see there's a lot of chemistry that could go down, and a lot of built-in battles in this tribe of 6, which is super exciting. But she's one that I think could do super well if she were to come back, and that's why she definitely needs the extra life in this game. But that's only the Suva tribe. We have one more tribe left to go, and that is the Valaka tribe, who will always wear green. And first is going to be Brandon Donlin from Survivor 45. So Brandon is going to be on this tribe and has to be back for Survivor Extra Life because as far as like first showings, Brandon didn't have a good one. I don't know if it was a physical thing. I don't know if it was purely like neural, like panic attacks that affected physical stuff. I don't know, but I do know Brandon is a nice guy. He's charming. He's really funny. And he's been a fan his whole life. I think there's a lot more that he could offer to the game than he got to show first time around. And if you think about anyone who needs a second chance that didn't quit more than Brandon, I'd be hard pressed to in the new era. So that's why if they were putting together a season like this, he would be near the top of my list because he's a heck of a choice, and I'd be curious to see what he would do if he were to have a second time around because there were choices that he made I didn't think made a lot of sense. But I was being an armchair GM, so I'm not sure. Like he wanted to protect his vote at one point, and then the next he goes on the journey and risks his vote. Like maybe with the gift of hindsight and some of the ghosts of Survivor 45, it would go way better. Because again, he's a people person, and ultimately the game is about your relationships, and he's good at building them. On to the next one. This is one that had to happen. Had to happen. If he doesn't get another shot at the game, I'm actually going to be a little upset about it, especially if they do like a new era All Stars. This is Matt G from Survivor 44. This guy was honestly kind of a beast in the Ratu tribe. A tribe that is full of people that are really well known. Brandon, Lauren, Jamie, Kane Fritzler from Canada. Matt stood out as maybe the strongest in the bunch. He had a hidden immunity idol, and he had a fake idol that he fooled Jamie into thinking she had for a really long time. And the only reason why he didn't get to continue on is because he hurt his shoulder climbing rocks. But this guy built great relationships. He was strong in challenges. Even when he hurt his arm, he was still doing some challenges, or his shoulder, and he found an idol and he faked out another contestant with that idol. This guy deserves another chance in the game. So when I say extra life, he's like really the one that needs the extra life. Because there's some people that need to come back because I think it could go really well if one or two strategic moves or personality things didn't happen. He's one where if he just didn't climb that stupid rock, I think he would have done incredible in the game. So I would love for Matt to have a second chance at Survivor. Now, moving on to him, Tim from Survivor 46. He was an interesting choice for me. I wasn't sure if I was going to include him, but when I really thought about it, he's a nice guy. He definitely seemed to get in there with some strategy. He was part of the famous the Six Alliance with Q, although the plus one alliance is really, that was terrible alliance. It was awful. Hopefully, if he were to come back, he is strong and he does have a bit of strategy. Maybe he would be able to learn a little bit from the last time and fine tune some of the strategy. He's used to being a mentor. He's got kids, so maybe like that could bleed over to someone like Brandon, who is not super young, but he's young enough that maybe he could look up to him in that way. I don't know, but I think Tim could do some good stuff. Now, joining Tim, Brandon, and Matt on the Vileka tribe, another first boot, Mariah from Survivor 43. I love Mariah. Mariah's great. How could you not love this little pack of Fruit Strike gum? She's got a lot of personality. I've been fortunate to talk to a lot of castaways from Survivor 43, particularly ones from the Baka tribe. And that was her tribe, of course. And they always tell me, they're like, listen, Mariah, she didn't do really anything wrong to be voted out first. There's really nothing. It just didn't work out. It was, it ended up being Gabler, Mariah, and Ellie really was one of the main reasons why Mariah ended up going, funny enough. It just didn't work out. And that's why when I think about that, the testimony there and the personality of Mariah, I mean, just look at her on screen. I mean, geez, pops right away. You think like she's got to come back, got to have her back. And I think she'd be really great. She's strong. She's pleasant at dealing with people. She builds good relationships. Strategically, we just don't know. It's kind of an incomplete. She wanted to get rid of Gabler, which made sense, but Gabler was also kind of sabotaging his game at the time. So I don't know how well she'll do in that regard, but not everyone needs to be a Parvati and a top tier strategist. Who knows? Maybe it would just fall together. But that's definitely a personality thing. Like I would put her in for that reason. Her role is to be that kind of a character. But if she gets great gameplay out of it, cool. And then next one, also from Survivor 43, Lindsay Carmine. Lindsay Carmine is getting put in specifically for two reasons. Okay. I don't like putting two people from the same season on tribe together, but she fit the bill the best. Lindsay is at a certain age. She's the motherly figure because she is a mom, and she's a nurse and she takes care of people. And I love mother figures on tribes if you can get them. And she's also really strong. In challenges, I know that she beasted them. If you go back and watch 43, she kicked ass. She was one of the main people that would do them for the Coco tribe, and she did great. And I think prematurely, like she was in the majority Coco Alliance, even for the first tribal council, but I guess things just flipped around kind of in a crazy way and ended up getting taken out of it. So I think if she were to come back again, she'd be a player that people would shockingly see rise through the ranks toward the end of the game. She's an aggressive person in that way. Like she builds good relationships. She's very nice, and I think that strategically, she is much more in line with like a Gem or an Ellie, where she would try to grab the reins if she could. And with the way this tribe is constructed, I think she could definitely. I think she'd be one of the dominant personalities on the tribe and would shock a lot of people. Now, the last person on the tribe and the last person of Survivor Extra Life is someone from Survivor 42, Swati. Swati is one of those people that I think gets forgotten a lot in the Survivor New Era. And it's kind of a shame because I think Swati at one point she started playing both sides on the Ika tribe. Obviously, she was voted out early, so she didn't make any kind of major game changing in a positive decisions. But she's really young. I think Swati played when she was like 20. Like, it was ridiculous. Now she's like 24, 25, and I think she's in some military academy or something like that. And I think she's a really interesting mix of personality traits. Strategy is kind of her main thing, but she was decent in challenges. Personality was all right. But the biggest thing is we saw that she would mix it up strategically. Like, she was willing to take big risks to get ahead, like to go out there and say a name. Not everyone's willing to do that. There are people I cast here that I don't think would do that anymore. And we need people like that, quite frankly. And I think with the mix up of how this tribe is, I think she would be a very interesting addition to Survivor Extra Life. Now, with that said, I think we need to recap who was chosen and on which tribes. And then I'll give kind of a quick honorable mention section of who didn't get to make it. Okay. So to recap, the Lami tribe, which is the first one I started with, we have Sifu, Sydney Siegel, Jenny Kim, Brad, Jem, and David Jelinski. So this tribe, you can see them all laid out on what they look like. Can you envision this, basically? Can you imagine Sifu, Jelinski, Brad, Sydney, Jenny, and Jem? I think the girls run the tribe. I think the girls will run this tribe. I think Brad probably gets voted out first. Unless I don't know. Actually, I don't know a scenario where Brad isn't the first one voted out unless somebody does something very wrong. Like, the person I assume would be the outlier would be Sydney, if any of the girls. But you never know. When advantages come up and stuff like that, people can sabotage. So that's how I loosely see this kind of shaking out with this tribe. I think the girls run it. Okay. Who run the world, girl? Yeah, that's what I think happened here. And then onto the Vileka tribe. This is the one we just went over not too long ago. Mariah, Brandon, Lindsay, Tim, Swati, and Matt. I love this tribe. I think there's a lot of personality. I think it's going to be a really fun, laid back tribe for the most part. But there are some hounds in this group. I love a group that could do both, right? And I'm incredibly curious to see how this shakes out, because I think there could be a star or two born out of this group. Be really exciting to see how it shakes out. I don't know. I don't know what to say more than I think this is really well balanced between personality and strategy and physical strength. Because physical strength is the one I look at here and I go like, maybe it's not the greatest, but your keystones for physical stuff are probably Matt, Tim, and Lindsay. Although Mariah again was very good, Swati held their own. Brandon had struggles, but again, with a lot of prep, maybe it'd be different. And then finally, the Suva tribe. You see them all laid out pretty next to each other. Voce, JD, Ellie, Sabaya, tiny little Zach Wertenberger, and Helen Lee. I love this tribe. This one was my favorite tribe to put together from a competitive standpoint. I think they have everything. Physically, JD, Voce, and Sabaya are kind of the biggest ones. Helen as well, of course. Ellie, brilliant. Helen, brilliant. Zach, brilliant. Voce, brilliant. Honestly, there's so much here. I think strategically, there'd be a power grab in the beginning, mainly from probably Voce, but I could see Voce being a victim immediately if one of the girls has something to say about it. And I could see Zach, knowing that first time around he was voted out first, I could see him playing real fast and loose, trying to align with the girls and or JD and say, let's get rid of Voce and go for that quick power grab, the alpha male move. He's no beta for Zach. I could see it. This tribe would be really interesting to lay out together. I'm kind of curious how it would go. I don't know. It's all hypothetical, of course, but this one was my favorite one to balance out for sure. Whereas like the Lami tribe is more experimental, put a lot of strong women with not as many strong strategic guys. Whereas this one is super balanced, I think. And I'm very curious because you have really strong females here and really strong males strategically. I don't know. It's kind of like Mother Goose, too hot, too cold, just right. And this is probably my too hot on the strategic side of it. Vileka is my just right, and Lami's too cold. I don't know. You got to mix it up though. I swear to God, some seasons they know they're making a disaster tribe. Like you'll never convince me Jeff Probst didn't look at Lulu and said, "Oh yeah, this is going to be the disaster tribe. Let's see how it goes." And I think that's what went down. And to me, this is going to be really good one. Now, in the honorable mention section, I tried so hard to fit Maddie Palmia into this. Maddie Palmia has a major personality. She almost knocked Brandon out of the game in the first tribal council. But unfortunately had a hit immunity. Maddie was voted out of the game with 1 vote. Honestly, like she probably should be in one of these tribes. She should be. But it got to a point where I was like, I don't want all the first boots to be out because everyone remembers first boots, but usually for a bad reason. Maddie's really young. She's still, obviously, she could be in game mode. She was the toughest one to leave off the list. From a personality standpoint, Claire from Survivor 44 was another one I wanted to put in the game. Couldn't do it, though. No quitters. That was also a rule for me. If I'm thinking as a producer, quitters can't come back. I would love to see Hannah Rose play again, but she quit the first time. She didn't really play the first time. And I hate to say that, but it's true. And if you ask Hannah, she'd probably say, I'm never going to play again anyway. So I had to consider that. There were some tough decisions that had to be made, particularly with the women. With the men, it was a little easier to narrow down the men. With the women, though, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. And Maddie Palmia is the number one that got left off the list that I wish wouldn't have been the case. There's some others that were in the discussion. Justine Brennan from Survivor 43 would have been awesome to add. Lydia from Survivor 42 would have been great. Good personality. Just couldn't make it happen, though. But overall, that is my pick for Survivor Extra Life. What do you think? Do you think that there's someone huge that was left off the list that should have been put in that wasn't part of my honorable mentions? Do you think my honorable mentions should have taken someone out of the mix? Because remember, it's not a popularity contest the way I was doing it. I was trying to do it as if I'm a producer and I'm making a good season with good tribes and having players fit roles still. Because there's always players that are going to fit roles, like Lindsay as the mom character, like I said. Heidi from Survivor 44 in the Soka tribe, that was kind of the mom character. Maria for the Siga tribe, same deal there. Tiffany in the Yase tribe. Like there's always one. So I can't just have a bunch of young 25-year-old girls on this cast. You got to mix it up a bit. And I think that's important. So Maddie is someone that I would love to shove in, but I just couldn't do it. But maybe there's another motherly character that I left out. Let me know down below in the comment section. I would love to talk to you more about it. And remember, if you want to see more Survivor stuff, give me suggestions for any list. I have so many other casts. I have the Survivor Rebels versus Titans kind of redraft, which is really exciting. And we have some other stuff coming up. The Survivor 50, we have like just new era. We have ones with people from all eras, all that fun stuff. So let me know. Otherwise, hope you have an amazing day, everyone. You take care.